Hey guys, it's Victoria and welcome back to FemmeHead. So today we are going to talk about all the ways that I am prepping for the postpartum period. This was actually a great video to make because it made me think through so many things and my plan for certain things. It made me consider things that I hadn't thought of before. When I was looking online at other YouTube videos, a lot of the postpartum prep videos I saw were people making Padsicles. And while that's great, and I think postpartum care is great, and I'm going to go over postpartum care with you guys, I think there's so much more to postpartum from what I've heard from other moms that people don't consider beyond just like healing their bodies. So the first thing that I want to talk about today is asking for help when you need it. Michael and I have already looked at our calendar, and there are a couple weekends, I think 1 or 2 weekends early on, where we already know that he has prior commitments to where he's going to be gone. Obviously, if something comes up, he won't go to those. But if everything's going okay and me and baby are healthy, I am all for him going and keeping those contracts and all that good stuff. So we have already had his mom put it on her calendar to say, okay, if Victoria needs it, you're going to come stay at the house with her and the baby and help out, so it's not just her there if I do need that. And I know I could do the same to my mom, so it's great to just have those people to say, okay, let's look ahead, let's plan ahead. When am I going to need help? And to ask for it before you need it. Who are the people in your life that you can call up or you can text and say, hey, I need you to come be with me right now. Like, I need someone with me right now, because there's so much happening during that postpartum period. You can only plan so much. You can only make so many Padsicles, but you don't know how you're going to be feeling, what difficulties you're going to be experiencing. And so just knowing and having that support system of like, okay, these are the list of people that I know I can call and cry to, or I can call or text and ask advice. More often than not, like, our partners are going through it with us. And so it's great to have a fresh outside perspective or kind of fresh blood that's not in it with you to come and help. And the thing that I've come to realize just through my experience with like my sister, my friends who are moms, is I want to help. I want to be told what I can do. And so don't feel like you have to have it all figured out. The next one is obvious. It's healing. How am I going to prep for my body to heal? Most of us plan for a vaginal birth. Obviously, other things happen. You kind of have to adjust your plans. If you do end up having to have a C-section, some other sort of intervention that calls for a different type of healing for you. The first thing that I've made is a postpartum bathroom kit. So I have 2 of them right here. So this isn't completely filled with what I'm going to have because there's some stuff that I'm planning on bringing home from the hospital. But I just have, you know, your standard big old pads, less aggressive looking pads. The big ones were hand-me-down from my friend, the ones that she didn't end up using. These are leftovers from when I had my miscarriage last summer. So I'm just using those up. I also have some nipple pads in here, breast pads. I always end up calling them nipple pads. I got a bunch of ones from her. There's some washable ones in here. There's some disposable ones in here. Some different sprays. So I have packed in my hospital bag my like nipple balm, my bottom spray. The hospital is also going to send me home with some like different nice sprays for my lady bits, as well as you always hear the peri bottles. I'm definitely going to bring my peri bottle home from the hospital, and I might even get a second one for the downstairs kit. I made some Padsicles, but then I also have the Tux cooling pads, because I've just heard good things about those. And that's kind of what I have for postpartum bathroom kit. So like I said, I went ahead and made some Padsicles, so I will insert that footage now. I'm gonna just start for video's sake with 10. I'm not gonna put lavender drops on mine. I'm pretty sensitive to lavender essential oil. Like, I broke out in a rash, so we're not gonna put that on my healing vagina. Aloe vera gel and witch hazel. So the pads I'm actually going to be using are Care maternity pads, plastic free, chlorine free, perfume free, natural materials, biodegradable. If you are like me and you really like reusable period products and that's what you normally use, I will use my period underwear for sure postpartum, but I don't really like reusable pads. So from what I've heard, you want to put the aloe gel on first to kind of create a barrier that the witch hazel sits on top of. So we're gonna do 5 at a time because I don't know, big old pads I got. From what I've seen, they say a generous amount of aloe and then a teaspoon of witch hazel, but that doesn't seem like very much. I'm not trying to skimp on my vagina. So I'm just gonna squirt directly from the aloe container. It just kind of like splooches out. Spread it out, spread it out. And I like that this aloe gel isn't like a weird blue-green color. And then we're gonna take the witch hazel, spoonful on each, and to dribble that down the center. And ooh, almost lost that one. Give it another spread. It's such an odd thing to be prepping for your vagina to be in this state. And like, I'm like, la la la. People ask how you feel about labor and pushing a kid out of your vagina. And I'm excited for it. There will be a moment or several moments during labor where I think, oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, what am I doing? I don't want to do this. But right now, I trust my body so much, and I think that's partially me just being naive or something, or just hopeful. My body can do this. So many women have pushed so many babies out of vaginas. Like, why shouldn't I be able to do this? That's that. Come back later today, and then we'll bag them up once they're frozen, so hopefully they won't stick together. This is the closest to a cooking show I've ever gotten. That is the Padsicle portion of my postpartum prep. Okay, so I'm gonna keep those in my freezer, obviously. I've already bagged them up and they're in one of the drawers in the freezer. I've also heard that like sitz baths or Epsom salt baths are really healing. I don't think you're supposed to like submerge yourself to a certain point. Instead of getting like the sitz bath that sits over your toilet, they just sit in like 2 inches of water or something like that. So I have some Epsom salt down here. I have on here poop assistance. I called my mom up and I said, do you remember those cookies that I used to make when we were kids that we literally all called them poop cookies because they made you poop? Not in like a bad way, like in a good way. She's gonna ask around, I think one of her neighbors, to see if she can find some freshly ground wheat for those cookies, and then I'm sure she'll make them for me because she is awesome. A lot of people do different sort of laxatives, and I'm definitely not opposed to that. A lot of people are terrified of that first poop after birth. Don't quite know what I think of it yet. In that department, I've been really good throughout pregnancy. Things are definitely changing now that I think my body's gearing up to go into labor. Like, I think it's like clearing itself out, but I don't suspect having any issues in that department. I don't know what I'll get for like the stool softener world quite yet, but I'll probably get something for that. Next on my list is kind of like a breastfeeding diaper station kit. That's what this cart right here is going to be. It's on wheels, so I can roll it between the nursery and our room. So on here, I'm gonna have a water bottle because I've heard that women are just very thirsty when they're breastfeeding, diapering, and then pumping. Breast pads, nipple balm, the silicone pump to catch letdown or when you need one. Pacifiers that I'm just gonna keep in here. I also have some hand sanitizer in here, and I have a pen in here for when I do start pumping, marking bags. So that's kind of what I have in that little section right now. I'm also gonna have some snacks in here. Right now I just have Luna bars. Moving down to the diapering station, I have an extra snappy. I have wipes, a swaddle in here, my travel wet bag. At night, it would be really smart to have a wet bag. That way I don't have to bring the dirty diaper in here and I can just stay in my room. Snapping this on here, changing the diaper, putting the dirty thing in here, putting this in my like actual diaper pail in the morning and just rinsing it out or something like that. Some cloth diapers, an extra cover, pre-folds. I'm just gonna throw the spray bottle that I have in here at night. And then down here I have the Spectra. What is this one, the S2? This is a breast pump I've wanted. I have heard great things about it, so I'm really happy that I got that one. I've got the attachments and everything that I need clean, and then I've got my milk bags. And that's kind of the breastfeeding, pumping, diapering station that is gonna be portable. Let's talk about food. So one thing you can do is meal prep. You can make freezer meals, and I feel like a lot of people recommend that. My sister and my mom actually made me 7 delicious looking freezer meals, all vegan, all plant-based, and like super nutritious and healthy. And I'm so excited for them. Next in the food category is let people know what food they can bring you. People are like, hey, can I get you food or a meal from anywhere? I'm just gonna have a list of like my favorite meals from certain restaurants or have certain, like, if they want to cook me meals, certain easy to cook plant-based meals they can bring me as well. I've also heard that when people prep for meals, a lot of people think about prepping for like dinner meals, and that's a lot of what the freezer meals are, but also to plan for easy breakfast and easy snack options, especially if you're breastfeeding. The next thing on my list is learning about the 4th trimester. I don't remember who this first person kind of told me about it, but it's this idea that because of how our brains develop, we have to be born 3 months early to be able to fit through the birth canal. And so babies come out pretty helpless, not not fully developed, so they need that extra 3 months to finish developing to where they're not like super duper helpless anymore. Educating yourself about the possibilities of those first couple months and like how difficult it actually is. Not to like scare yourself or anything like that, but I think just to prep and be like, okay, it's not a cakewalk. It could be easy, but it could also be really hard. Next is, if you're planning on breastfeeding, having a lactation consultant in mind and a breastfeeding group in mind. The hospital that I'm giving birth at has a support group. There's a birth clinic here that also has a breastfeeding group, and there's also a postpartum support group, which I think is great. Having important numbers and information ready to go before the baby gets here. I'm going to try to find a pelvic physical therapist, I think that's the correct term, in case I do need one, and that I have someone that I know that my insurance covers and all that stuff. Next is a difficult one, but limiting visitors. Everyone's so excited about newborn babies. Everyone means so well. Babies are adorable, they're squishy and they're cuddly, but I think it's really important to have a plan to limit visitors and not limit them like, you can't ever come meet my baby. Who are you going to invite to the hospital right after you give birth? Who are you going to invite over to your house? You know the people in your life that are there to help and are actually going to help, and you know the people that are going to be more work to invite over than they are going to be helpful to you in that postpartum state. I am not going to be afraid to, if I'm really struggling or I'm exhausted or things are difficult with breastfeeding or baby's really fussy, telling people I'm really sorry, but it's really difficult right now. Check back in a couple weeks and see how things are going, and then you can come over. If you are struggling to shower and feed yourself, baby is just crying and you can't figure out breastfeeding, that is not a good time to have people over and to feel like you have to entertain them. I've also heard that it's really good to set visiting hours and kind of time limits for people to come over. And that might sound harsh, but I think it's important to know the people that are going to be very helpful. Mothers are super helpful and they are going to clean your house or make you food. Another great thing that I've heard is people create a chore list for visitors. So people can say, let me do a load of laundry, or let me put in a load of dishes into the dishwasher, let me wipe down your counter, or have people go and get groceries for you, give them a list, give them your debit card and say, can you go buy me these things? People want to help. People want to bring you a meal. People want to bring you a coffee, and don't feel bad, because just think of yourself in that situation. Like, I love being told, hey, it would be really helpful if you could stop and pick up some toilet paper for me. And the final thing on my list is having low expectations of what I'm going to be able to do. We all have this mindset and expectation that we're going to be able to do it all. Raise our baby, have this beautiful newborn experience, keep up at work, keep up with our relationship, keep up with our social life. I'm going into it expecting myself to be able to do the bare minimum, so I prep for that now. Prepping FemmeHead as much as possible. How many videos can I film ahead of time? Like, each time I film another video, get it edited and uploaded and scheduled, that's one less video that I have to worry about making after the baby is here. The more I can get done now, the better I feel going into birth and motherhood. That is a long-winded explanation of ways that I am prepping for the postpartum period. I think there are so many different aspects of it that you need to think of, and I know that there are probably a lot of things that I didn't even think of. I hope to do kind of follow-up videos about what my postpartum experience is really like. That's where I'm at right now. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's content. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with all of this, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!